Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is not only one of the world's most famous wrestlers of all time, but has even made his mark in the acting industry. Today, he is one of the most well-known celebrities of our generation, and as you're going to find out, a man with many hidden talents, and even a few interesting little-known facts. So buckle up and get ready to find out 20 things you never knew about The Rock. Hello and welcome to Hollywood Heat. Be sure to subscribe and turn notifications on because we upload 3 new and interesting videos about Hollywood stars every week. You definitely don't want to miss out on all of that free entertainment. Also, please like this video as it helps us a great deal to reach more movie buffs. That being said, let's get started right now. He is afraid of spiders. It's tough to imagine that someone as badass as The Rock is scared of anything, let alone something as small as a spider, but that's exactly the case. While on the Ellen DeGeneres show in 2007, Dwayne had to face his fear by handling a tarantula, and a few years later he told Ellen that it helped him overcome his fear of arachnids. But if you thought The Rock's fear of 8-legged creatures was surprising to find out, wait till you hear which celebrity he had a serious feud with, or even better, why he's considered a real-life hero. That's coming up at the end of this video, so stay tuned if you want all the details. He eats 7 meals in one day. Looking at The Rock, it's pretty obvious that this star eats a lot. He would have to in order to maintain his superhuman physique. What is shocking, however, is the exact amount of grub he consumes on a daily basis. In one day, Dwayne munches down on not 3, not even 4 or 5, but a whopping 7 meals a day. In fact, he averages around 5,000 calories a day, which is twice the amount of the average male. Yes, when he says he's so hungry he can eat an entire cow, he means it. He only became famous once he took on the role of a villain. When Dwayne first started wrestling, he played the good guy, but it didn't sit well with the WWE fans. Many people wrote him off as fake and didn't think too much about him. That was until his persona took a turn for the worst and he ended up becoming a villain in the WWE world. Or should we rather say, took a turn for the best, since this move is what prompted the start of his success and led to him winning at least 17 championships. Like the saying goes, nice guys finish last, especially when it comes to pro wrestling. The name of his production company has an interesting story behind it. It is a well-known fact that this wrestler turned actor is the owner of his very own production company called $7. What isn't as known, however, is the story behind the name he chose. Turns out that he named his production company $7 because at the time that is all he had. Yes, in 1995 the star was dropped from the Canadian football team he was in and it left him broke. All he had left in his wallet was $7. Don't worry, Dwayne has since then managed to rake in some serious cash and even made history with a paycheck he received for his first starring role. But if you want to hear all about that, you'll have to keep watching. That's still coming up. He loves country music. If we were to ask you what is The Rock's favorite music genre, we're not sure what you would pick, but we are pretty convinced that country music would be the last on your list. Dwayne just doesn't seem like your typical country music fan, but that's where our surprising fact comes in. He absolutely loves it. He once said in an interview that it's during his teen years he spent in Nashville that he first fell in love with the genre, and he's loved it ever since. Does this mean we will one day get to see him in a Western movie? We can only hope. He played football in college. As you'll come to realize even more with this list, The Rock is one of those stars who is great at everything he tries, and this includes sport, football to be specific. Dwayne was so good at football that he got a full scholarship to the University of Miami because of his skills. His team then also went on to win the national championship while he was on the team. This celebrity isn't all brawn and no brains, however. In fact, he graduated college with a rather unsuspecting degree, and that's where our next surprising fact comes in. He has a degree in criminology. In the Fast and Furious franchise, Dwayne portrayed the role of a federal agent Luke Hobbs, but it wasn't all acting for this star, since he actually has a degree in criminology. Yes, while playing college football for the Miami Hurricanes, he also completed a Bachelor of General Studies in Criminology and Physiology. He graduated in 1995, and although he never truly got to apply his degree to a career, it definitely proved to everyone that this Hollywood hottie is a triple threat. He's got talent, charisma, and brains, all in one. He is soft at heart. Dwayne might have played a villain in the WWE world at one time, but in the real world he is quite the opposite. In 2006, he founded an organization dedicated to helping terminally ill hospital patients called the Dwayne Johnson Rock Foundation. This is just one more reason to love him, not that we really needed any. He has struggled with depression. Celebrities might appear larger than life when you see them on screen, but in reality, these stars are just like all of us and suffer from the same problems, including depression. Yes, while on an episode of Oprah's Masterclass, Dwayne opened up about a dark time in his life. He spoke about how at the age of 23, he was cut from the Canadian Football League team and it left him struggling with depression. Thankfully, he moved on from that period of his life, and we're so glad he did. The world wouldn't be the same without Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to entertain us. His role on Fast and Furious was meant for someone else. When you think about Fast and Furious, Dwayne's character Hobbs immediately comes to mind. It's almost synonymous with the franchise at this point. However, as amazing as Dwayne is in the role wasn't originally meant for him. Instead, Hobbs was originally written for Tommy Lee Jones, but thanks to a fan suggesting they introduce The Rock to the franchise, the decision was made to give Dwayne the opportunity. Whoever that fan is, the whole world is grateful for their suggestion. He had a serious feud with one of his co-stars. Speaking of the Fast and Furious franchise, did you know that back in 2016, Dwayne was in a feud with his famous co-star Vin Diesel? Turns out the two never really saw eye to eye, and their problem with one another was so intense that the pair wouldn't even appear in any scenes together in Fast 8 because they refused to be on set together. Since then, the two seem to have put the whole thing behind them, but not before Dwayne posted a rather infamous post on Instagram where he called Vin some not so friendly names. Wrestling runs in his blood. If you have ever wondered why The Rock decided to go into wrestling, the answer is really simple. It's a family business. His grandfather was a well-known wrestler known as Peter High Chief Maivia, while his father was known as Rocky Solomon Johnson, making Dwayne a third-generation wrestler. In fact, it's thanks to his family's connection to the business that there was quite a lot of hype surrounding him at the start of his career. And the hype was certainly warranted because not only did he live up to his family name, but it's even safe to say he surpassed it. He had a rough childhood. Growing up in Hawaii, it wasn't always smooth sailing for this star. His family was strapped for cash, and at one point when he was only 14 years old, his family was even evicted from the small apartment they were living in. Times were so tough that Dwayne had to turn to crime to make some fast cash. But that is where our next surprising fact comes in, one we're willing to bet you certainly didn't know. He has been arrested numerous times. Ever since playing a villain in the WWE universe, Dwayne has done quite a lot to build his reputation as the tough but nice guy in Hollywood. But there was a time in his teen years when he got himself into quite a lot of trouble, so much so that he ended up being arrested 9 times before the age of 17. All's well that ends well though, and these days Dwayne isn't getting into trouble with the law anymore. Instead, he plays the law on our screens. How's that for an improvement? He made an appearance on Star Trek. Dwayne has featured in many shows and movies since the start of his acting career, but one appearance not a lot of people are aware of was his appearance on the Star Trek Voyager TV series. The star reportedly featured in an episode titled Sunkotsi, where he played a Pandari champion who defeats 7 of 9 in her first match. This actor definitely has come a long way since then. He created the word SmackDown. In 1997, while The Rock was at the height of his wrestling career, he introduced the world to the word SmackDown, a word used to describe that moment when you unequivocally beat your opponent in any context. The word quickly became popular, took on a life of its own, and 10 years later was added to the Merriam-Webster. Today, this word is still used globally, even though only a few people know that it was Dwayne who originally coined it. Well, now that we do know, it definitely makes us look at the word in a new light, and again just proves how amazingly cool The Rock was, is, and probably always will be. He broke a record with his first starring role. In 2002, Dwayne took on his first starring role in the Mummy prequel spin-off movie The Scorpion King. By that point, he had already built quite a name for himself, and it meant that he got quite the paycheck. Dwayne was paid $5.5 million, a sum so hefty that he broke the record for the highest paycheck earned by an actor for their first starring role. Now, sadly, his paycheck might have fared well, but the movie definitely didn't. It was ripped apart by critics, but we're sure it didn't bother him too much, especially since it's nothing compared to what The Rock earns per flick today. He can sing and play guitar. By now it should be no secret that Dwayne is a man of many talents, but you might be shocked to discover that those talents include singing and playing guitar. One of his songs can even be heard in the animated movie he did, Moana. The song titled You're Welcome was written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and to make sure he was able to perform it, Dwayne said he listened to the song's demo track non-stop for months. In the end, his co-star Auli Carvalho said he nailed it, and we have to agree. He once held the record for most selfies taken. Forget about calling him Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. We should be calling him Dwayne "The Selfie King" Johnson, since this overachieving celebrity once held the Guinness World Record title for most selfies taken within a period of 3 minutes. While at the premiere of his film San Andreas in 2015, Dwayne snapped a whopping 105 selfies with excited fans at the red carpet, all in the span of just 3 minutes. Sadly, the record has since been broken, but you have to admit, it's still one gobsmacking achievement and a serious shoulder workout. He is a real-life hero. We're used to seeing Dwayne portray the role of a hero on screen, but did you know that he is one in real life as well? When he was only 15 years old, he saved his mother's life. As we discovered earlier, Dwayne didn't have the easiest life growing up, and during that rough period, his mother, Ata Johnson, couldn't handle it anymore and tried to kill herself. She reportedly stopped their car on a highway in Nashville and tried to walk into oncoming traffic. But Dwayne, being the hero he is, jumped out, grabbed her shoulder, and pulled her back. Now that is what a true hero looks like. There are a lot of surprising secrets this pro wrestler turned actor has been hiding from us, but which one left you with your jaw on the floor? Comment and let us know. Please like this video and help us reach more movie buffs. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our next video on Beyonce, 20 things you never knew about her. Click on the videos flashing on your screen and keep the fun going. You deserve a break. Thank you and have a good one.